Good morning, and welcome to my final day in Delhi. This morning I had to figure out how to get some laundry done because I was about to run out, and so now I only have a good 6 hours of daytime left, so we're going to see how much we can squeeze into that time period. The itinerary right now is going to start off with the Indian National Museum, which supposedly has some Harappan stuff that's very interesting to me. Then we're going to shoot over to the Sundar Nursery, which is a wildlife preservation area in the heart of New Delhi. And finally, if there's time, I'd like to go to the Akshardham Temple, simply because I haven't been to a real Hindu temple before, and I'd really like to know what it's like. That one I know, though, I can't film inside, so whether I get there or not is probably immaterial to this video. So yeah, let's get started.
It's actually a really nice day today. So this is the wing that I'm really here for. Harappan civilization. One of only 4 agreed upon Old World original nexuses of civilization. The Harappan civilization is sort of India's prototype, starting around 3300 BC. It's one of the least well represented in Western museums, and really neat. The Harappan civilization had what seems to be a syllabic script of some kind, but because we don't know what their language was, and we don't know what their script said, we have no good way to translate it. It's the largest undeciphered ancient script corpus we have. There are some of the famous seals with untranslated script on them. I often heard the Harappans didn't have weapons or military, but this speaks a little to the contrary. And there's the famous dancing girl figurine. These sculptures come from the time of the Maurya, a civilization that existed around the same time as the ancient Greeks. It was the first major empire to conquer most of India. So they wouldn't let me do any more filming inside, but here on the outside I have found what looks like an Ashokan pillar. I'm not sure if this is one or not, but if it is, those were set up by the Emperor Ashoka Maurya back around the same time as the ancient Greeks, and form some of the oldest complete written records from India. So it turns out that the last really interesting relic in this museum are the relics of the Buddha. There was, in a small room, a little stupa-shaped thing that had a little box, and in that box you could see a handful of small bone fragments, which they claim are actually the cremated bones of Gautama Buddha. I didn't do any filming because there was a service of some kind going on around it, but it's incredible to see. I wouldn't have guessed that that was here. You'd think there'd be a giant temple or something, but nope. It's just in a little room in there. So my next step is probably Akshardham Temple. I'm not going to be able to film inside, so I'll just take a little picture of some of the towers, and then when that's done, I'll talk about my experience. Yeah, so this is the Defense Ministry?
Yeah.
So, quick aside, behind me is the Defense Headquarters for India, and over there's a roundish building, that's Parliament. Quick aside to the Gandhi Smriti. This is the place where Gandhi spent the last several days of his life trying to help deal with the partition. It's also the place where he was assassinated in 1947. And that's where he died. It's a beautiful place. even if it's tragic. There's India Gate up close.
Yeah.
The
So
Yamuna River.
Yeah, the three rivers is imported here for the Hinduism.
Yeah.
They call it the Yamuna, Ganges, and Saraswati.
And there's Akshardham.
Yes. The full of name of the Swami Akshardham Narayan Temple.
Yep. The Swami Akshardham Narayan Temple. So over there, through the fence, you can see Humayun's tomb. That's the dome. That looks a little Taj Mahal-y. I'm here just a little too late to get in because I was having such an incredible time at Akshardham. Akshardham was one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. It actually felt very spiritual, even though I am not Hindu. And I had an incredible time just seeing all of the carvings and all the artwork. The whole thing is hand-carved. It was surreal. And now welcome to the Sundar Nursery. This is an enormous open-air botanical garden, bird habitat, and tomb complex, as everything in Delhi kind of is, that at one point sat along, I believe, the Turkish road, if I read that correctly. But now it's all these little tombs from the Mughal period and before, interspersed in this massive green scene. This is called the Sundar Burj. It's what the garden itself is named after. Look at the intricacy of those icons up on the right and left. I apologize, it was called the Grand Trunk Road. And this follows the path of it. So this is the Lakarwala Burj, one of the largest of the burges here, on one of the tallest plinths. And all around me, might be hard to see now that it's this time of year, is an enormous rose garden. And here's why they call it a nursery. Look at all these young plants, just lined up in their little pots. Thousands of them. And this area is an herb garden. Can you smell that? Take that as a no. But it smells really fragrant. It's actually, it's not floral, it's definitely more of a culinary scent. But yeah, you can tell that they're growing a lot of herbs here. And I don't know what this is. Some sort of ruin, I'm guessing. Maybe a well or a caretaker's house. But yeah, that's just Delhi for you. Little ruins all over the place. And here is the still standing portion of the Azamganj Sarai. Back when this was on the trunk road, this was a caravanserai, which would basically be a massive hotel-like structure for travelers. It has over 100 rooms, and though its parapets make it look very fortressy, it was fundamentally just a place where you could stop, park your animals, and get 3 hots and a cot. Now, it abuts the nursery. Makes me wonder if even back in the day they could have had views like this from here, back when everything was so much greener and there wasn't so much haze in the sky. This must have been such an incredible place to live. And here is the bonsai house. It's pretty dark. They're all going to sleep, but there's hundreds of them in here, and they are so cute. Yeah, when it gets too dark to see the bonsais, it's probably about time for me to head out. Here's a little more light. See? Little trees. Hundreds of little trees. I love trees. This is the Sundarwala Mahal. It's a lot bigger than it looks because there's a lot of shadow over there. But look at that light show. So it's very dark, and you probably can't see them because there aren't many in bloom. But this is a wonderful little lotus garden. You can see there's just little couple pink flowers. Oh, so pleasant here. Except for that thing, that's a little loud. Big, pretty tree. This is called the Flower Valley. Several beds of just flowers here. This would have been the type of place to explore during the day. But these guys stick out. So it is with oppressive sadness that I contemplate today being my last day here in Delhi. I can't tell which part was my favorite, whether it was the Buddha relics or the absolutely beautiful, meditative, artistic experience that was Akshardham, or just wandering around those pleasant trees and plants and seeing all of the Mughal ruins just kind of laying out there in the garden. Or seeing the place where Gandhi died, which I certainly wouldn't call a positive, but at least it was a humbling experience. So yeah, today was a wonderful day, and all those experiences I highly recommend. So tomorrow I'm flying out to Goa, where I'm going to be attending the wedding of one of my college friends. So I'll maybe not do a video tomorrow just because it's going to be a lot of transportation oriented stuff and not really that important. But if I see anything cool, I'll certainly tape it. And then, yeah, while I'm in Goa, I'll probably take some video just to prove I was there, if nothing else, and to get a little exposure to what an Indian wedding is actually like. So until then, good night.